Hi everyone, my name is Carmen Peutz. I'm an owner of Modern Adulthood. I'm a counselor, educator, and professor, and mostly I'm trying to help young adults to navigate to adulthood with lots of support, guidance, and information. So today I invited Isabelle Mercier to talk about a little bit about business, branding, and marketing, as she is an expert on it. And this is, if you are listening and maybe you are somebody who is the beginner or trying to get to another level, so tune in and listen to our interview. So warm welcome, Isabelle.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back. We had a previous great interview together and decided to book another one.
Yeah. So me and Isabelle had another interview and decided that we want to join forces for the second time and talk more about branding and marketing. So here we are for the second time.
Yes.
But Isabelle, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for all the people who maybe don't know you that well?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a brand strategist and a business performance catalyst. What does that mean?
Yes.
It means that I help people, brands, and companies differentiate themselves and operate a business and a life that is by design, not by default. So I help people stand out of a crowd, get noticed. I help people interrupt the market so they can be listened to, because you know what? If nobody knows about you, nobody's going to be impacted by you. Nobody's going to give you any money. If they don't like you, same thing. And if they don't trust you, same thing, right? They won't buy from you, or they won't listen to the impact that you have to provide. So I help people basically brand themselves, which is all about creating know, like, and trust, online or offline. And of course, I'm a specialist at looking under the hood of a company, of a brand, of a product, to assess what's going well, what's not going well, what could be innovated, and what could be elevated in order for that product, that person, or that company to be able to create more impact while being more profitable.
Isabelle, you work not mostly, but in majority, you work with small businesses, and or no?
Yeah. I have a couple of different levels of company size that I'm working with. And I do have some offerings, some really awesome offerings. And I do help small business owners for sure. I also help larger organizations and corporations. But my heart is, I really enjoy the small business world.
Why do you think that a lot of small business owners don't go to six figures?
Mm-hmm.
What's the catch, the problem?
Yeah, what's the problem? Well, tell you what. There's a couple of different types of business models, right? There's a product business, and I will answer the question, but I'll give you this because it'll help. There's a product business and there's a service business. A product business, you sell a physical, tangible product. Mm-hmm. And then a service business, you sell your service or your genius. So there's two different types of service businesses. There's a commodity service business and there's a genius-based service business. Mm-hmm. Commodity would be dry cleaner. That's a commodity, but it's a service, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas a genius-based service business means that you're a coach, you're a health professional, you're someone who sells your time, you're a designer, a programmer. You sell your time, your skills, your genius for a living. And these are the types of companies that I like to help, the genius-based service businesses. And the reason why most small business owners don't get to six figures, in fact, most of them won't even make $25,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So the majority of small business owners out there generate less than $25,000 a year, which is actually, you could make more having a job at McDonald's, so, and one of the reasons, the greatest reason, is because small business owners are really, really good at what they do. They're a great graphic designer, a great bookkeeper, a great pie baker. What they're not good at is understand how to create a business, how to create a model that is not going to kill them along the way. They're very good at their craft, but they're not good at understanding what it takes to create a business or a lifestyle business that is going to be profitable, that it's going to be fun to operate, and that's going to be impactful both for them and for who they want to impact. And that's because they don't have the right business architecture. See, everything needs to be architecturalized. And when you don't have the right, what I mean by architecture is the right ingredients, the right clarity, the right goals, and the right systems in place to actually allow them, because nobody wakes up, this I know you know for sure, nobody wakes up in the morning going, I want to create a business today that is going to get me to overwhelmed, overworked, and undervalued. Nobody does that. Everybody wants, I want to create a business that will give me more freedom, more flexibility, opportunity to generate more money while impacting more people. But what happens is, because they're good at what they do, but they don't know how to set up their brand. They don't know how to set up their business architecture. They don't know what to say yes to, what to say no to. Therefore, they become overwhelmed. They're wearing 17 different hats. They are the CEO, the chief financial officer. They're a marketer. They're every what's the word I'm looking for? Position. They're every position in their small business. And I can hear people say, well, of course, I'm the only one in my business. I don't have money right now to hire other people. Then you better have great systems and great procedures and be very, very clear about your goals and what you will take and what you won't take in order to not kill yourself in your small business, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Because I even saw doing my summit, it's so much work behind it that you cannot do actually yourself. And if it's possible, you hire, like a virtual assistant, somebody who takes care of your videos that you have, interviews, a lot of things that you cannot do or you don't how to do it. And not just that, it saves you time, money, and a lot of stress. So,
and a lot of time, I say to consultants, how much do you charge an hour? Let's say they charge $100 an hour for an average, let's say. Well, editing a video is it's not part of their wheelhouse. It's not part of their genius. Therefore, it's going to take them 5-6 hours when it could take someone 1 hour to get it done, right? So in the time that a small business owner will dink around doing things that is not in their wheelhouse, that is not going to be well done, that's going to take them so much longer. So the rationale of, I don't have enough money to hire someone makes no sense to me. I would rather you spend $100 here, money, and you make $500 over here, you're still up $400, then you taking your precious time dinking around where you could have billed $1,000, but you're not, because you're busy doing things that someone with 1 hour of $100 could have done. So it's just, you got to be just very clear about who you want to impact, why you want to impact these people, how much what is the value that you bring on the table, and then set yourself up for, at some point, that you're going to make $500 here. It's okay for you to spend one over here to save time and sanity.
Exactly. And eventually it definitely pays off. So.
But people don't know what they're missing. So for example, when someone says, oh my God, $5,000 to do this? And I go, well, yeah, except that $5,000 here is going to save you hundreds of thousands of dollars of errors, mistakes, and headache over time. So, hey, if you want to take 5 years and lose about $100,000 of money you'll never see, or if you want to do this right now and do it this way and invest a little bit here, but what people don't know is you don't know what you're losing if you can't see it. See, hard-earned money, you know that you've earned it, you have a small pot of it, and you're like, I don't want to part with this. But what you don't know is this here is so small comparatively to the mistakes and the headaches and the money that you're not going to make as a result of not being set up properly. But unfortunately, you can't see that. Therefore, to you, it's nothing. It's like someone with cancer. If someone does not have cancer, it's like, well, no, I don't have cancer. Therefore, I don't even have to think about that. But if I said to you, this here will avoid a cancer, they're like, well, I don't have the cancer, so I don't have to avoid it. Why would I spend at avoiding it? It's like, well, come crying to mama when you do, right? Like, yeah. Is that making any sense?
I mean, because I went through this, doing something like my project, I saw, I get it, everything that you just said, because I went through the whole process of doing a lot of things. So
yeah, and you got to do it once. At some point you got to do something to know what's working, what's not working. I've done that as well. I've spent 3 years on something that someone else could have spent a year on. Like we all go through that. The maturity in business is to understand, is to learn from that and go, I like shortcuts. I like to hire people who are better than I do at certain things. And I'm going to give them an amount of dollars so that I can make double, triple, quadruple that by saving time and by spending my genius on something that actually matters. You got to have faith and guts to be able to think that way.
The important thing is that you learn and then you say, okay, I'm not doing it.
I'm never doing it that way again.
Yeah. Isabelle, what do you think that it takes a person to hire you, no matter what your price is?
So I'm going to rephrase this just to make sure that I'm understanding. What you're asking me is, hey, what does it take for a small business owner to be hired regardless of price and regardless if Joe's cousin does it for cheaper? Everybody knows Joe's cousin, right? You can do it cheaper. Yes. Well, it takes really understanding what your genius is and how much value you bring on the table. And it takes understanding what makes you different. So we call that the X factor or the money-making edge. So once you understand who you are, what you do, who you do it for, what you stand for, right? What's your brand stand? What's the number one problem that you help? So those are all ingredients that are part of the brand foundation, which I call the brand DNA. So those are all the things that the foundation of who you are, what you do, who you do it for, why should they care? And then why should I pick you over anyone else? And that is the X factor. And by the way, if you are a small business owner, if you don't absolutely know what your key differentiator is and how to communicate it clearly, you are losing a minimum of $25,000 per year. That's the smallest amount that I've ever been able to track from someone who is not clear on their X factor. So, and an X factor is what makes you different. It's the reason as to why. It's a tipping point. If I like you, see, someone that wants to work with you has to first know you. Then they have to like you. And then they have to trust you. Now, once you have know, like, and trust with someone, you also have to address a problem that is hot enough for them. See, if I want more red staplers, but it's really not a big deal, like I can operate every day without a red stapler, it doesn't matter if the red stapler that you have is the best one in the world. If my urgency for having a red stapler isn't strong enough, well, it's not strong enough. So it doesn't matter what you present to me. But if I can't live, if someone says to me, you will die in a month if you don't have this particular red stapler, and if you actually happen to be an expert at red stapler, and you say, I know what your problem is. I know you're going to die in a month. Now, this is a really crazy example here, but just for the sake of drama, right? Like, I know you're going to die if you don't have a red stapler by next month. I happen to have not only a red stapler, but I happen to have a red stapler that's going to save your life, in addition to helping you with the second biggest problem that you have. So it's clear that you have to innovate to present your service or your product in a way that people are going to go, oh my God, where have you been all my life? I've been looking for this red stapler because time's running up for me, and I couldn't find anybody with that precise red stapler. They couldn't find that. You're not the only one selling a red stapler. However, you're the only one who was intelligent enough to say, I know that you're going to die if you don't get a red stapler. You see, it's not just about the actual service that you sell. It's about how you interrupt to actually get people to know, oh my God, yeah, that's precisely what I need. And not only that, so if you have a product like this, that's easier to sell. As I said earlier, it's easier to sell a product than it is to sell a skill or a talent or genius. So the key here in the X factor is to learn to take the intangible tangible. See, people don't sell coaching. They sell the precise transformation of the coaching. But most people talk about coach, and I sell coaching, or I sell programming. No, you don't sell programming, even though that is what it appears to be. That's what people are buying. But ultimately, they're buying a website that's going to sell for them while they're sleeping. Mm-hmm. So when you understand what people are really looking for, what's the problem that they're fixing, and I was thinking about that this morning while making my tea, because I have a product that I use, which is called, I don't even remember what it's called, but it's actually to help with regularity, right? And so now you can have Metamucil. Metamucil is a product that is gooey and it doesn't taste very good. And you have to kind of block your nose and down it. Mm-hmm. Or you could have this product, which for some reason escapes me the name, but it's this product. It's a white little powder that you put in your tea. You don't taste it, you don't smell it, there's no texture to it. It's your tea, regular tea, except that you're actually helping your regularity on a daily basis. Now, Metamucil came first. The other product came, why? Because people were bitching about how gross and how gooey, and they didn't want to have bits and pieces in their teas or in their orange juice. See, innovations don't come out of great ideas out of thin air. They come out of solving a problem. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be chosen, regardless of price, you have to be very clear about what is the top of mind problem that you solve for a specific group of people. Mm-hmm. And you could have 3 different problems that you solve for 3 different groups of people. That's totally fine. You just can't talk to the 3 groups of people about the 3 different problems all at the same time. You have to say, hey, you're looking for a red stapler because you're going to die in a month. You can't talk it the same way as if someone is looking for a black pen because they want to color in a color book. Those 2 things are 2 products that you offer or 2 services that you offer, but they're not offered the same way to the same people because they're not solving the same problem. So that's the key here, is to first look under the hood of your business and look at what is it that's different about you. And once you understand what's different about you, so maybe you're a coach and you have your own methodology of coaching. You have a system that you've created because you thought the other ways of coaching weren't as effective. So at Leap Zone here, we have a retreat center for small business owners. And we take them out of their regular natural habitat and we bring them in our space and we revamp, organize, and restructure their business and their brand outside of their natural habitat in our own creative, awesome space. That's an X factor that is strong. Why would you choose me as a coach and as a brand builder? Because you're going to get you get coaches, business coaches, branding coaches, and marketing coaches all at once in one package. That's a huge X factor, right? So you got to understand what makes you different, and you got to package it in a way that people will be able to actually hear it and understand it and go, oh my God, Carmen, where have you been all my life? That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. Now that you mentioned this, what's the brand promise and what's the importance of having one if we are talking?
Yeah, so a brand promise is your measurable accountability. First of all, very few people have a brand promise. They don't even know what that is. And it's the promise that your company makes, regardless of weather, regardless of, it's something that come rain or shine, you're going to deliver. So for example, at Leap Zone, we promise clarity, pivotal shifts, and momentum. That, no matter what we do, it's the base of everything we do. How we answer the phone, how we write emails, how we communicate, how we teach, how we coach, how we create new programs. Will it deliver clarity? Will it help people make pivotal shifts? And will it create momentum? If one of those is missing, we cannot move forward with whatever it is that's being presented to us. And a lot of people, some companies have promises that are, like, oh, we promise quality, we're the best, so we have the best quality on the market. Quality is a staple in business. It's not a promise. You got to have something that is desired. So I'll give you an example. In North America, there's a company called Provident Security. They're a security company where you have a keypad in your home, and if something happens, they're going to help. Now, the industry of security, the very industry that you're paying for the keypad in your home, in North America anyways, the response time, so your alarm rings, there's a burglar in the house, police response time is between 2 to 2.5 hours. You'd have time to die twice. 10 times actually. And most security companies, their response time is between half an hour to an hour and a half, depending on your location, depending on a whole bunch of things. Now, I don't know if you know, but as a consumer that wants to be protected in my home, I don't expect that someone is going to come once I'm dead, right? I expect someone's going to come before I die. And so, again, I'm dramatic this morning. But so Providence Security knew this and went, this is ridiculous. People expect this, and we're being delivered this. So we're going to create a promise that is a 5-minute response time. Well, that's a great promise, but I'll tell you, it wasn't easy for them to create that, because if it would have been easy, other companies would have done it. So as a result of a gap in the market, they've created their promise being a 5-minute response time. And they've redesigned the systems and procedures of that to make sure that happens, right? To make sure that there's always a security guard in a vehicle 5-minute radius of every neighborhood that they serve. They're now the fastest growing security company in North America, as a result of having a strong promise that, in their case, it's also their key differentiator, because nobody else does that. But it's first and foremost their promise. And the promise is a measurable accountability. You have to deliver it. It's not like, oh, well, on good days we deliver on our promise. No, it's all the time. So when a company or a small business owner is clear about their mission, which is not a mission statement, by the way. A lot of people have, my mission is to blah, 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 blah. No, a mission is one word about how you want to leave people feeling. When you're clear, at Leap Zone, we have 2 words. We're cheating. We want to leave people feeling on fire and unstoppable. So now picture this for a minute. I want to leave people feeling on fire and unstoppable. So everything I do, of course, will have people feeling this way. And if not, then I will rectify that quickly, because nobody's perfect. We're not asking anybody to be perfect. We're asking people to have the right intention and to operate with love, right? And so I know that I want to leave people feeling on fire and unstoppable. I know that our brand promise is clarity, pivotal shifts, and momentum. And of course, we have a set of 5 core values. And once you know all of that, man, the way you're operating will be better than anyone else in your industry, because you're operating with a set of values, right? With a brand foundation that is proprietary, uniquely yours. And if your whole team, even though it's just one person, if you operate from that perspective and that intention, on top of having a clear differentiator as to why I should pick you over anyone else, do you see how this could be a fail-proof way of operating?
Mm-hmm. Isabelle, we often hear 2 expressions in business: marketing and branding.
Yes.
Can you explain both expressions?
Yes, most people mix it, actually. So branding is figuring out who you are, what you do, how you do it. It's figuring out what you stand for, what you will or will not do, and it's to create the experience that people are going to get from you before, during, and after a sale. So most people think branding is a logo. Mm. Is a logo important to a brand? Yeah, a logo is merely a visual trigger that's going to remind you if you like this company or not. See, Denny's is a chain of restaurants here in North America. It's a little diner, breakfast joint. The first time I went to Denny's, I had a 9-day food poisoning. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, when I see that logo, all I can think about and all I feel is not good. Because 9 days of food poisoning is not fun. They could gold plate their logo for all I care. When I see it, I will still feel crappy. So is a logo important to a brand? Absolutely it is. However, a logo, it is not a brand. A brand is an experience. It's how you craft the experience before people buy, during them buying, and after them buying. And it's understanding the word. See, a lot of people say about, can you help me spread the word? That's a marketing question. So marketing is about what are the tactics, what are the actions that we're going to take to spread the word. But you got to know what the word is to be spread. So branding is about understanding what it is that we're spreading, and marketing are the ways in which we're going to spread that word.
Isabelle, we can hear you often say, don't speak to the whole jungle.
Yeah. Don't speak to the whole jungle. This brings me back to the conversation we had earlier about different clients, different problems. So how I explain this is, if you're someone who wants to sell to lions, you know what the lions' problems are, and you know you have a solution for lions. Most people, this is how they operate. Hey, jungle, I know you guys have problems. And so the animals in the jungles, you know, they look at you and they're like, what? But if you just say, hey, jungle, they're not even going to know that you're talking to them. They're just going to continue walking, running, continue eating. But most people operate this way. They go, hey, jungle, I know what your problems are. Actually, they don't even say that. They go, hey, jungle, I have a good solution for you. And nobody's really listening, because what the hell, who cares? But the people who win in the game of business, they go, hey, lions, I know what your problem is. I've been there. I know that as a lion, you have to hunt day in and day out to feed yourself and feed your cubs. And that is a full-time job, and you're always out. And while you're out, so feeding is number one problem here. I'm about to talk about the second problem. And while you're out, your cubs are at risk. So I have a solution for you with that. We now have a cave filled with food, and all you need to do is press on one pedal. Within 5 minutes, you'll have food. delivered to you and to your cubs. How would that sound? The lions are going to go, huh? Hell to the yes. And you might have a few giraffes and a few hyenas that are going, huh? What's the kerfuffle here? What's going on? I want in. And you can give them that as well. But if you say, hey, jungle, so that would sound like, hey, small business owners, I have a solution for you. Well, who the hell cares? Unless you remind me of what my biggest problem is and my second biggest problem is, and unless I agree with you, I won't listen to you. So don't speak to the whole jungle. Figure out who in the jungle you want to talk to at once. You can speak to the whole jungle, just not at once. You have to speak to lions, and then you have to speak to zebras, and then you have to speak to another kind, because they have different problems. The zebras, their problems are the lions. So your solution better be keeping the lions away, right? So it's understanding that you cannot talk to everybody that you want to help at the same time. And you cannot come up with a solution and share the solution until you have reminded them of pain. They're on Pain Island right now. You got to actually go, I understand the Pain Island. I've been there and it sucks. Tell me more about the Pain Island that you're in. And what would it feel like to not be on Pain Island? Hey, while we're at it, tell me what Pleasure Island looks for you. Great. How much better would your life be if you were on Pleasure Island instead of Pain Island? Oh my God, it'd be awesome. But you know what? There are sharks. From Pain Island to Pleasure Island, there are sharks. I happen to have a boat, shark-proof. Want in? Do you get how now it's like, yeah, I want in. It's going to cost $10K. That's okay. I'm in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Isabelle, what does it take actually to have that or to get that competitive edge, that money-making edge?
Yeah, that's it. And it's the X factor. It's understanding what the lion's problems are, and it's to really figuring out what I can offer, the money-making edge. I'll give you an example. In Portland, Oregon, there's a company that has, well, you guys must have laundromats wherever you live. Do you guys have laundromats?
Yeah.
Yeah. Laundromats in my country, they're not fun. They're ugly, they're dirty places, they're a place for waiting, and then it's not fun. It's not a productive time. But that's an industry that no one has ever bettered. You know, we better a whole bunch of different industries, but why is it that we never better the laundromat? Well, Morgan Gary in Portland, Oregon, she saw the problem. She went, yeah, laundromats are boring, they're gross. What if we were to innovate them? Mm-hmm. So she created a brand new laundromat, a laundromat chain basically, that is it's called Spin Lounge. And it's a coffee shop. You can actually meet clients. And it's beautiful. They've got food. They've got organic things. So she's merged a couple of different things, because while you're waiting, might as well be productive and have fun, right? Yeah. So the money-making edge is when you look at something and you roll your eyes because you think it's ridiculous and it's about time for someone to change this. That's an opportunity for elevating and creating a money-making edge, and to actually elevate something to a better state. Mm-hmm. And it takes curiosity, it takes guts, and it takes the willingness to possibly fail to do something like this. However, it's hard to fail when there's a problem and everybody knows and sees it as a problem, and then you better it. Right? That's what it takes to create a money-making edge.
Isabelle, what did TEDx talk do for your personally and professionally?
Oh yeah, it's been amazing.
Sorry to cut you off. This question is the same as, the series Sex and the City?
Yes.
Like, all the actors that have some interviews, still till this day, like 20 years later, they're always asked, like Kim Cattrall, let's talk about Samantha and Sex and the City. So.
Yeah, and what did that do for you, right? I mean, first of all, being asked to do a TEDx talk is a huge honor. So I was definitely honored. But I personally, it put me through a total, the fear of public speaking is the number two fear on the planet. Death is number one. Public speaking is number two. Change and moving is number three. So, and although I do speak, it does freak me out. So this was a big undertaking for me. It was a 7-month of hard work. And I was able to impact millions of people. The views on my TED Talk are above 1,400,000 views just about a year later. So in a year, that's been phenomenal. As a result of that, I've been asked to be a part of an expert part of a documentary movie around branding. So I've also been asked to speak at larger events, more prestigious events. It's allowed us to be known a little bit more, obviously, in North America and all over the world for our retreat center. So it's done a world of good for me and for my business. But most importantly, I felt like that was a message worth spreading. And for anyone who has not seen my TED Talk, you can go on leapzonestrategies.com. And actually on the homepage, there's a shortcut from a TED Talk, which is called The Power of Zero Tolerance, where I talk about why we as a society we worry so much and how we can not tolerate, because I believe that worry stems from tolerating something. So if you have a lot of worry in your life, instead of wondering how you can worry less, go assess what you're tolerating and then get rid of some of your tolerations, and your worry will go down and your peace of mind will go up. But it's been a fantastic experience for me.
So anybody who is listening, go to Leap Zone Strategies and take a view of the TEDx talk of Isabelle. So I advise you to.
Good. It's entertaining, it's funny, and it's a tough subject, but I put a spin on it that is actually funny. Try not to laugh while watching it. I dare you.
Isabelle, is it anything that you would like to add for the end of the interview?
Yeah, you know what? The biggest thing that for me, that has been a big catalyst in helping me move my business forward and in helping me build 2 7-figure businesses and help others do the same, has been to treat yourself as your own best client. So I do that. I treat myself as my own best client. See, what happens is we're very busy delivering our goods and our services to other people. And we live in a reactive world. And so we're being very reactive, more reactive than proactive. And a lot of people ask me, how can you deliver all of this, Isabelle, run a very successful business while being able to have time for vacation, time for yourself, time for family, and also time to create new products and new services? And my answer is this: I treat myself like I would treat a $100,000 client. When I put appointments with myself in my calendar, I respect them. Because that's, if you have an appointment with yourself in your calendar to do something for your business and a client wants something, and that's the only time they can meet you, most of the time people will go, okay, I'll just put myself aside and I'll meet you there. But no, now that doesn't mean I'm not flexible, but I'm a me. I'm going to take care of me first, because if I'm taken care of, then that means that I can actually give you more. So I treat myself as my own best client. Every week I have periods of time in my calendar that are secluded and that are time slotted specifically to work on my business, so that I can better my services, so that I can create new offerings and new ways to help impact and also generate money. So I would say that, and I would say if there's a book that I would highly encourage everyone on the planet to read, it's called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And the subtitle is The Disciplined Pursuit of Less. It's the best book I've ever read. I was raised that way. And I didn't have language for that because I was raised that way, I thought that that was the way the world functioned. Yeah. But no. And so Essentialism by Greg McKeown, best book. I would definitely recommend it.
Thank you. And it's the same as the saying goes that I actually posted on Instagram, but it's a while back, that says, fill your cup first. So
yeah, fill your cup first, and then you'll have so much more to give, for sure. Awesome.
Thank you. Isabelle, thank you for this interview today.
Oh, you're welcome anytime. I hope that your community really values and really gets value, is what I mean, gets value from this interview. And of course, I'm just an email, or you can reach me at leapzonestrategies.com or on Facebook, Leap Zone Strategies on Facebook as well. I'm just an email or a message away from helping if ever you have a small business out there that you are ready to kick it into gear. I've got a lot of different offerings and different programs to help you kick some butt.
And just yesterday, I didn't watch it today because I saw it like before we did an interview. You on Facebook, you did with Deirdre.
Yes, I did a Facebook Live on social media.
Yeah, so I have to check that out.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you. And to all the viewers, thank you. And see you soon on the next interview. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.